everyone, and hello, Helen. We have this incredible opportunity today. All of us get to envelop Helen Birney and welcome her here into this community. She is such a special person to me. She's been in the same book writing group. Come on up, Helen. Let's
Yeah,
say hello. There you are. It's set up for both of us to be on at the same time. I'm not quite sure why we're not.
I see us here at the same time.
Okay, well,
Um,
as long as you do, that's great.
okay.
I don't know if there's something else I can do here. I won't worry about that. Matter of fact, I'm going to end this. It's distracting me. We're going to start all over.
Yeah, let's start over. Let's get it right. No
Yeah,
problem.
yeah. Let me get the view right. Let's see. Now, did that change anything for you?
Nope, I still see you perfectly.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it and start over.
Okay.
Mhm. Today we have the great privilege of my introducing you to a new friend, a colleague, a much respected author, best-selling author of this book, which we're going to tell you all about. Um, it's such a privilege for me to bring you on today because this is a subject, as I've told you, that's really dear to my heart. And everybody who's in this community and really knows me knows that I've gone through this world of obesity or body focus or
hmm
just being a woman in this world where we're focused on our value being a certain weight and a certain look. And Helen does a masterful job in this book, changing our energy, changing our focus, showing us how to live a different way. And just in case we don't get to it, I want to say she has two beautiful daughters.
Thank you.
And changing the world for women does more than just change it for each of us. It changes the possibilities for them. And for that, I'm so grateful, really, truly. So
Thank
tell us
you.
a little bit about yourself. We met in a writing group. I was about a year ahead of you, and you're going through the exciting parts now. Tell us, how did you get to that book and how did you come to write this book?
Yeah, wow. Well, it was a real journey. It's been a 7-year journey for me of developing my proven proprietary process to help women release weight and release emotional and physical weight without counting, tracking, or portioning or weighing themselves, so that they can live a life without yo-yo dieting and just feel comfortable in their own skin. And that all started about, yeah, 7 years ago, right before COVID, actually. I graduated from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And when I did that, I started to open myself up to a world of what it means to have nutrition for the whole self, for the whole body, mind, and soul, instead of just for weight loss. And when I was doing that program, it felt very aligned physically, but there was something missing for me spiritually. And that's when I got into the energy of the body and the energy of thought. And when I enrolled in the Kinesiology Institute to take some classes in energy kinesiology, and I put those two things together, and in my home office was able to see women for integrative health, and then also be able to use energy work to shift their mindset around the way they're feeling about themselves and identify some both nutritional and emotional triggers that cause them to feel badly about themselves or to overeat or to look at themselves as a number instead of as honestly a person. And
Mhm.
so COVID hit, and I didn't get to put my hands on people anymore as far as the energy work was concerned, and I could only see people online. But I had developed this unique ability to have an intuitive process or intuitive insights into what women were feeling and what was going on for them just through discussion and conversation. And I realized that this superpower could be used to teach women a process of learning how to listen to their own needs, learning how to dig deep into why they got to that place in the first place of wanting to lose weight and what was going on for them. And what I discovered was missing from things like intuitive eating, which I highly, highly respect, was this idea of making space in your brain from the diets that you had been doing before in order to make space for new thoughts. So really dealing with some little micro traumas from dieting or those limiting beliefs and being able to replace them with new ones, in addition to helping us really know how to fuel ourselves based on how we feel. And out of that was born energetic eating. And I took my practice pretty much online completely during COVID. And since then, it's just become this incredible process that I have had the honor of helping hundreds of women go through in order to live their best lives through health.
So there are a couple of things that I want to follow up on because you said so much good stuff in there. And I think I want to go first to my favorite of your, uh, let's see, your pillars. You have
Hmm.
6 pillars in this book,
Hmm.
and I bet you can't guess which is my favorite. Do you want to guess?
Thoughts?
Kinda, it's the focus.
Okay. Yeah.
Does not make sense because your thoughts actually is really the same. Your
Hmm.
thoughts, if you're thinking constantly of what do I weigh? I need to be thinner. I am not okay. Those thoughts are one kind of focus.
Hmm.
And tell us about focus. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, so I'll first explain how the pillars work. When women came to see me about strictly weight loss, or so they thought, we really set some goals on how they could be in the world and what it would feel like for them to embody their best selves in their health and in their body and in their minds. And as we discovered this together and started peeling the layers, the issue wasn't the number, it was really the way they felt. And these 6 pillars really go into the way that we can feel energy instead of just put our focus on the number on the scale. And one of those pillars, Rosalind, is focus. And focus for me, it's when you wake up in the morning, what's your first thought? What are you thinking about? Are you thinking, am I going to step on the scale today? And if I do, then it says something I like. What's my next action then? If it says something I don't like, am I beating myself up over it? Then what's my next action? So if your focus the first thing in the morning is how much weight have I lost or the fear of how much I've gained, then you're already taking away so much brain space from empowering yourself to just make decisions in your best interest. And that lack of focus can feel physiological or connected to hormones like scatterbrain, but it can also feel like disempowerment. And so in the focus pillar, we talk about different affirmations we could use to bring our focus back to the self, a morning routine instead of weighing yourself. And, getting those negative beliefs put in is experiencing the positive beliefs and affirmations first thing in the morning so that your focus is on how do I care for myself today? How do I love myself through health today? What choices can I make to support my brain and my body today so that I can again, move forward empowered instead of disempowered by the scale.
Yeah, and one of the things that I love about you and this work is that you don't have these rigid rules because they're just like another diet, at least for sometimes they aren't even meant that way. They're meant to be guidelines. And those of us who are experienced dieters turn it into rules. And then we like to be good and follow the rules. And then we like to break the rules.
Yeah.
Fuck it, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's part of the dieting thing, isn't
Yeah.
it? I mean,
Yeah.
that was part of mine, and I don't think I'm unique. Will you tell the story about the scale?
Oh, I would love to tell you the story about the scale. Yeah. And Rosalind, what you're describing is when we get into diets and we're micromanaging ourselves, the executive control part of our brain gets lit up and we're like, awesome, I'm in control. I can do this. I'm going to count all the things and there's a magic equation that's going to help me lose weight. And I was on that roller coaster, like exhibiting all of that control. And then, as you said, being like, screw it or fuck it or F it. I can't do this anymore. It's like you're running a full-time business in your brain for your body 24/7, and nobody can sustain that. That's why diets don't work. So this one day after going on what I call a Franken diet, where I combined all of the latest diets into one, Whole30, keto, paleo, calorie counting,
I loved it.
yeah, whatever you can imagine, it was included in this thing to drop. I don't, at the time, I think I was trying to lose 10 pounds, right? So, my best friend and I were dieting together at the time, and we often joked about having bikini bodies. And this was in March. So, we were getting ready. We're like, 90 days till bikini bodies, we can do this. And I remember looking at my scale and thinking, this is the moment I'm going to step on the scale. I'm going to get this result. And, when you get a good result, you get a ping in the brain. It's like, good job. And it makes you want to keep going or sometimes cheat more, right? It depends on the mood that you're in that day. So I step on the scale. I had no new result. After killing myself over these diets, it actually physically made me feel bad. Racing heart, night sweats, things that just told me that my body wasn't in alignment with what I was doing. My best friend stepped on the scale, her too, no result at all. And so we looked at each other and we were like, this is ridiculous. And we kind of smirked and said, you know what? Let's not do this anymore. And so we took the scale outside, and our intention was to just throw it on the ground and smash it. And we had a neighbor who happened to be driving by, and she stopped the car. She's like, "What are you guys doing?" And we told her what we were up to, and we all looked at each other, the three of us, and decided that we had something bigger in store for the scale. So we put it on the ground, and she ran over it. The scale shattered into a million pieces. We all cheered, and I never weighed myself again. And it has been 7 years since the last time that I stepped on a scale, and I feel better than I ever have in my entire life. I know I released the extra weight and inflammation because my clothes fit the way that I always imagined they could. My face shines the way that I want it to. I get to say yes to things that people ask me to do when before I would say no, whether it's an exercise thing or a party or a reunion or anything that I was afraid to attend or do because of my lack of self-worth has all melted away. And I'll tell you that it melted away within 12 weeks of running over the scale. And I don't even, I mean, I know hadn't reached what I imagined could have been a weight loss goal, but that number went away. And then I could hear myself because I wasn't holding on to that space of the number anymore. It was, what do I hear I need to feel good? That
Mhm,
changed everything, changed my life.
mhm. And I can attest to this because we've been in the same circles and the same places where there's been eating. And I've seen this on your social media. There was one social media post where you were walking by a bakery or a coffee shop
Mm.
and you were looking at the desserts and then you said, well, I'm too full today, but I'll come back.
Yeah.
That made me know you're the real deal. I'm not saying the people who never touch sugar again are not the real deal. They
Mhm.
are their own real deal, or not. That's not for me to say. But that doesn't impress me. Um, I can't explain it without sounding judgmental, except that I knew it drew me closer to you when I watched that post because I know when I say I'm never going to touch that again, I've been in one kind of place. And when it has the same moral value, broccoli and chocolate, one, I'm not a better person if I
Mhm.
ate broccoli, but I don't feel the same if I only eat chocolate. So I don't only eat chocolate.
Yeah.
It's not, I've extricated those parts of myself that valued who I was by what I ate, and that good bad food thing made me crazy.
Yeah.
Now I am not as good. meaning good, I'm putting quotes on that, as a student of non-dieting, because after I got rid of the scale, which was 30, 40 years ago, I don't even know when, I started to look in the mirror and I put on a tight skirt. And if the skirt fit just this way, I just replaced the scale with a look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go all the way right away. It felt like a relief. At least it wasn't an exact number. And at least I could say, well, maybe I'm imagining it, because there would be imagining in my book, which is not about my book, but the little girl there's a picture, and the little girl thinks that she sees it on her butt, the pie,
Hmm.
right away.
Yeah.
And there's a graphic, and that was real. I would still think, if I ate or binged or didn't eat it intuitively and didn't have just a little bit, the rules followed me after I threw out the good and bad
Yeah.
for years and years. And it's sometimes still hard. I don't know really why I'm still subject to the good bad, because I hear it out there in the world all the time. It's probably that, or it may be when I'm more vulnerable to something else, a bigger stretch, then I go back to that. I don't know, but I think there is something that makes me more vulnerable to that thinking, and I have to catch myself and not make another rule. It can
Yeah.
happen again where I say, well, I can only have this much. That much is all right. No, don't go back there. That didn't work before. It's not going to work
Yeah.
now. And then I come back to the ease and grace of, for me, no rules. And like you say in the book, learning to follow your body's prompts, because it will tell us when we need protein or when we need vegetables or more fiber or more water or more
Hmm.
whatever. I heard something yesterday. I don't know what you think of this. It was from an entirely different kind of spokesperson. And she said, if you're using pleasure to, what was her word? Um, it was a D word, and I'm trying to think of what it was. To not disrupt, not discard. Help me here.
Okay.
Avoid. It's a D word about avoid. Let's say avoid.
Okay.
Say avoid your gifts or avoid a feeling. Then the pleasure is being misused. You want to use pleasure for the quality of pleasure. To
Mm.
me, that's still defined eating for emotional reasons. You're slim, I'm slim. We can eat one day for emotional reasons, and it doesn't ruin anything. You just have
Hmm.
a moment of imbalance,
Hmm.
and that's it, right? I mean,
Yep.
would you say?
Hmm.
But isn't that, what do you think of that? If we use pleasure for us was food, because it was pleasurable. We used it to punish, we used
Hmm.
it for all kinds of things, fear, avoidance. You
Yep.
spell it all out. But it is an avoidance of something else, facing something else.
Yep.
You said unworthiness. I think it crystallizes it. Do you like that? Just having that as a general, am I using it? Am I going to eat this because it's pleasurable, or am I doing it to avoid XYZ?
Yeah, I love that. It reminds me of something that my clients say to me all the time. They'll say, "Well, I'm afraid I'm going to get bored with the food," or, making the same thing for myself is boring, or I get so tired of vegetables, or I get so tired of having salads. I don't want to roast vegetables anymore. And those are all that boredom and what you don't want to do is because you're seeking pleasure.
Mm.
through food. There's a period of time that you have to go through in order for that pleasure seeking behavior to go away. And then there's this moment where making yourself these roasted vegetables with olive oil and garlic powder and salt and having it come out of the oven like so
That's
hot and letting it
pleasurable.
warm and then
Yeah.
you put it in your mouth is pleasure.
Mm.
And on top of it, when you start to experience that as pleasurable, you start to feel more things in your life as pleasurable. You stop seeking the food as pleasure, and maybe a conversation you have with your spouse or your partner or a hug from your kids feels so good because you're
Mm.
not distracted by pleasure seeking on with
So
the
you're talking about the stage, because, I'm so much older, I probably could be your grandmother. So, and you had a sweet grandmother, so
I
that's
did.
a nice
Yes.
position. But um, I've been doing this longer, and so I'm remembering there was that obsession with food where it was the only thing that was pleasurable.
That's right.
That's what you're talking about. That stage, for some people, not everybody
Mhm.
experiences this, where they're cut off from the rest of life and food is it.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about the next stage where you're starting to live again. You're
Mhm.
starting to appreciate conversations. You're having gratitude. Your work is more enlivened. You're coming back to living.
That's right.
And I think there's another stage, and you probably know it. I'm thinking you know it because of that bakery social media
Hmm.
post.
Hmm.
You can come back to giving food that pleasurable, like you talk to somebody, let's go to that place with the food
Yeah.
and the this and the that, and you're practically having an orgy over the food, but that's not your whole life.
It's not your whole life.
That's
That's
a
right.
moment in time, and it is more than you would. It's not um, calibrated and titrated. It's expansive. It's
That's right.
too much. You might even eat too much, and it's too much, and then that's it. You know,
That's right.
it's
Yeah.
the moment.
I talk a little bit about that, a lot about that when I talk about identifying your best energetic self is a part of who you are and how you are in the world and fueling that part of yourself. And one of the things I describe is that it's not that we aren't having any sugar, or we're not having any baked goods, or we're not having any X, Y, and Z in order to get this weight loss result. It's that I'm fueling the best parts of myself that are the most joyful in a way that does not, I describe this as called blowing the circuit, which is when you feel gross, like you feel sick, you feel like you had too much, you feel tired, you feel moody, all of those pillars. When those are disrupted, then you've blown the energetic circuit, right? You've had too much. But for me, if one of my values is spending time with my children, and I write about that, and my best energetic self is spending this beautiful time with them, and I love them so much, and my kids they're just now getting out of school, and I want to take them to the ice cream shop, I'm going to take them and I'm going to partake because it's an experience, like you said, where it's like you want to partake in it and you want to feel all of the feelings and all of the senses in this beautiful experience with them. But what I'm not going to do is go in and get a large waffle cone with 4 scoops and sprinkles because that would take me away from the pleasurable experience of being in it with my kids. That's too much. And
Mhm.
so in the energetic eating method, you go through the process of really being able to feel exactly how much is enough in order
Mhm.
to enjoy your life along with food.
And I want to emphasize that it's not run by a tight brain.
Hmm.
What Helen just said, it's a knowing that's a loving, like you wouldn't intentionally hurt someone's feelings and say something on purpose, that would hurt them. You would make another choice.
That's right.
And it's out of love and understanding, but not the rule making because you can't have a waffle cone with 4 scoops and sprinkles.
Yeah,
And I bet you would suggest that someone who's further along in this might try, go have that waffle cone, have the all of it,
absolutely.
and and then see if you want to do it again tomorrow.
That's exactly right. And what we all do is that we don't give the awareness to those experiences to create what I call like a directory in the brain. If you're conscious about it, you have it, and you know you're looking out for how you feel, then guilt doesn't come into it. That's just a feeling. We're choosing guilt or we're not choosing guilt. If I'm having it and I don't feel well, that's another part of my directory so that the next time I look up ice cream, that says that was too much. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean not at all. It means maybe 3 scoops without sprinkles is good. Guess what? If it's not, okay, then I just learned something else about myself. Maybe 2 scoops. Maybe I want to try a child size 1 scoop with sprinkles. Like the
Yes,
options are endless.
yes,
Maybe you buy it and you throw it away. I mean, I
yeah,
always play this game
yeah,
with my clients. It's like, what are all the things that we could do from the most ridiculous to
yeah.
the most reasonable? And
Mhm.
everything in between is just you honoring yourself and thinking, if I have this, am I willing to adjust it so that I can feel my best? That's it.
Mhm.
Am I
Mhm.
willing to adjust it? It doesn't mean all or nothing, right?
Mhm.
One of
And
my
it's not
affirmations
about
is
right and wrong.
that's right. It's not. It's
It's
about being
not.
powerful and flexible.
Yes. And finding our own energy on any particular day. It's not going to always be the same.
Mm-mm.
So that's a rigidity that's left from diets. You know, living the way you teach in this wonderful book with that energetic freedom. And that picture is just so gorgeous
Thank
because
you.
it's not just that you look beautiful, it's just that the freedom is so visible. The person who took that picture,
His name is Lee Seidenberg, and he's an amazing photographer here in South Orange. Yeah.
he captured that freedom. When I was still a slave to good and bad foods, and it was a long time after I lost the weight. The weight
Mm-hmm.
was gone long ago, but I was slim in a rigid way.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really still binging and purging in a way because the diets were so restrictive after I binged.
Right.
So it was really a form of binging and purging.
Mm-hmm.
I came across this definition of normal eating, and it was a shock to me. And normal, what they meant at that time, normal eating was meant to be healthy eating.
Mm-hmm.
And it said normal eating is sometimes getting too much and sometimes not enough of what you really wanted. And I was so shocked because in my brain, thin people that were normal or healthy and not binging and purging like I was measured little pieces of everything, like
Yeah.
just a little bit, you know, never overdoing, never eating too much. And I think, at least for me, I guess there's some things about being an addictive person that are still part of my passion for living. And I will eat too much of certain things sometimes. And it works for me because then I don't want it anymore. Like I'm so done with it, it doesn't tempt me. So yeah, I felt better if I had a little less and it would be smarter and, whatever. But I value the experience of even being uncomfortable and then
Mm.
owning I don't want more because it's
Yeah.
still guided by a healthy want. Like the most recent time I overate in that way, I was having a ball. We had this dessert that came from someplace that was really special, and we took it home. And I was trying it with hot fudge sauce, and I was trying it with caramel sauce, and I was trying it with my crunch, and I was trying just the outside and then just the inside. And then pretty soon I was so grossed out. But I was awake for all the trials. I wasn't just binge eating for some
Yeah,
emotional thing. But I didn't put on my readers or my knowledgeable self about, how was I going to feel later. But I don't live that way every day.
hmm,
And I just let it all fly. And yeah, I didn't feel good, but I wasn't sorry.
yeah,
And I have now all the information, and I know the best way to serve that cake. I just want to make it sound so accessible to people. They can find their way.
that's right.
You do such an eloquent job describing the how. Follow these pillars, and I think I can promise you, you say it's a proven proprietary process.
Mhm.
I can see why. You do these things, you'll get there. It's like a
That's right.
roadmap. You follow that route, you'll get to where, whatever. But it's going to look different for everyone, right? Don't you
It
think?
is. It is different for everyone. And that's why I wanted to write the book because the difference between energetic eating and dieting is that dieting tells you what to do. Energetic eating helps you realize
Ah, I love that word.
what to
Yeah.
do, right?
Oh, let's sit with realize just a minute, everyone. What does that mean to you when you realize, when I realize it's mine? It's my
That's right.
experience. I'm in present time. I'm not in the past. I'm not in the future. And there's the power that you write about, because realization is about my claiming my power and the power of being alive, not so much mine compared to anyone or mine over anyone. It's the aliveness that we've all been given
Yeah.
and the opportunity to experience it. And, Helen, I think your book could be so helpful to anybody, even if they didn't have, I mean, it's directed toward body obsession and extremely useful. And most women have it. But let's say you had a different focus. Let's say your focus was on doing the right thing all the time. And if
Mhm.
you're not right, you're wrong. And so you spend a lot of time all day. Who's right? Who's wrong? This book takes you there too.
Thank you. Yeah, it could definitely be a metaphor for all of that. And the affirmations that I offer in the book, I often use them when there's a next level after energetic eating. I do a bit of life coaching in my Rise and Thrive group, and we apply these affirmations to the things in our life, not just to the things that we're eating or to our bodies or to our healthy habits, but to our life habits. So I definitely encourage anybody who wants to pick up a book and have a transformative experience on understanding what it's like to listen to yourself and to choose the thoughts that serve you and to release the ones that don't. Um, you can pick this up. It's for you too. Thanks for recognizing that, Rosalind.
Yeah, yeah. And so, how can people work with you? And you just mentioned there's another level after the book.
Mhm.
How can people work with you, and what do you offer at the next level?
Yeah. So the first level for anybody who's reading the book, who's interested in the book, I do walk people through my 12-step program in a group context and one-on-one. And so those are my essentials program and then adding one-on-one support for those who need it. But I do teach the essentials of energetic eating before we move on to the Rise and Thrive group. And in the essentials, we go through 12 steps, 12 weeks, 6 pillars, all together, experiencing the affirmations, getting rid of those thoughts, installing new ones, and following the pillars of the program. And within those 90 days, we all claim a certain goal. And I can say with certainty that we do reach those goals together. Once those goals are met, then people can join the Rise and Thrive group, which is a bit of an alumni group. So it's really important to me that people realize that it is a process, not an end goal. So diets are like after these 30 days. And I'm like, yes, okay, so then what? Right. So
Wow.
it's important to me to have that continued support after that. For anybody who wants to work with me in the Essentials program, I have a couple of options. If you do get the book, you could use the QR code and there's a weight release breakthrough call. And when I say weight release breakthrough, that breakthrough can be in how you feel about yourself. It can be in the process that you believe you need to take in order to release weight. It can also be emotional weight. So
Mhm.
don't be fooled. It's not another, like, ooh, how are you going to help me, get on that diet train again? It's really, how can I help you have a breakthrough in 20 minutes so you know what the next step for you is? It might be working with me. It might be taking the action that we talk about on the call together, but I encourage anybody to either visit the website or check the QR code to hop on that call with me, and I will absolutely walk you through any part of the book that you feel is really speaking to you or, to let you know what to focus on.
Mhm. Yeah, well, Helen is the real deal. She really lives what she's talking about. I used to teach dietitians non-dieting. This was in the 90s,
Mm,
1990s, and they were some of the most rigid dieters I have ever met.
hmm
They were so afraid to give up the protocols. Because this was when women stopped hating their bodies program following that book. And it was very scary for dietitians because it brought in all the foods that we thought we couldn't control and had them in quantities in our house. And it does get rid of the obsession. You do
hmm
find it to be wallpaper if you replace it. But they couldn't even conceive of it because the restriction. And this is what I know from being around you because I sense it when people are holding on and they really only want to lose weight and everything is just a pretend way to lose the weight. They're
Yeah.
just doing it for this, but really it's weight. And what I sense from you is that the vibrancy, the passion, the power, the fulfillment of living life energetically big is what you care about. You're not after the next ounce off.
Yeah.
People look at you, they might not know that because, yeah, they think, what does she know? Yeah, she knows. She was obsessed with it, just like those of us who've actually been fat, 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 like big, big, big. That
hmm
doesn't determine how much one has been obsessed in the mind. It's not
That's right.
body size.
That's right.
So if you're also a person who's never shown it through weight, but you've been in jail in your heart and your mind. This is the program maybe you've been waiting for. So check it out.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Rosalind.
Helen, for
Yeah.
being here.
Of course, I'll leave you guys with this that I always tell people that there's two ways that you can go down the path of health and well-being, and both of them can lead to weight loss. One is the path of self-defeat, speaking unkindly to yourself, negatively to yourself, stepping on the scale, deciding that today you're going to go on the diet and you're going to follow the rules, and that can help for a period of time, right? But inevitably, for all of us, myself included, that ends up ending in failure, self defeat, and going down that road again, right? Or the other way is empowerment, belief in yourself, deciding that you are worth fighting for, that the world is a place where you belong to shine your light and to love yourself. And the action you take from that will result in weight release if you let it. So you get to choose which path. If you want the path of number two, then working with me or reading this book is the path that you want to go on, and you'll get a different result that affects all of the parts of you, not just one.
Yes, so true. And for those people who are not yet at the place where they can feel I'm worth it, I love myself, I want to love myself, but there are people who aren't there, but they are desiring to appreciate their lives.
Yeah.
They're desiring to say, well, I don't want it to be about a separate me, but I want to be about having 100% gratitude that this moment I'm alive. And that's enough to get all the rest. Self-love is the best we can do to describe the opposite of self-hate.
Hmm.
We all know what that feels like, but sometimes there are people, and I know them in this community, who think they should be into self-love. And what I've found in my 78 years, so
Hmm.
I'll pay that card because I'm only a few weeks away, is that getting off the question of worthiness or unworthiness is beyond even self-love. It's like you're not even in that question, and
Hmm.
that's freedom. So I don't want anybody to feel like they don't have an entry ticket because they don't yet love themselves.
Yeah.
Because that's a language, that's just the best we can do to describe that full happiness, joy, willingness to show up, you know, but it doesn't mean what you think it means when you have unworthiness. You think it means me, love me, me. It isn't that.
Yeah.
So just amplifying that and full of gratitude for your coming today.
Thank you so much. This was really special, and I really appreciate you and the friendship that it will continue to blossom over time. And it's really just an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Helen.